こんにちは。
Hello!
I'm Dalton, ダルです。
I'm Aoi, Aoi です。こちらはバイリンガル形式で会話をお届けいたします。
Today we're going to be talking about slang, American slang.
はい、スラングの回です。みんなはどのくらいスラングを知っていますか？
Yeah, so just to be clear, this is going to be American English slang, not British English, and we're not talking about Japanese slang today. Maybe we'll do another episode on Japanese slang. But first of all, before I get into a couple that I have, do you know any off the top of your mind?
A little bit.
Okay, can you share one or more?
いいよ。
Okay.
じゃあ簡単なやつは、ポリスでカップ。
Yeah, cops.
Cups.
Well, plural is cops, but one cop, right?
Okay. そう、なんか、これはオペア時代私がよくホストファミリーから、教えてもらってた言葉の一つなんだけど、there's a cop, he's a cop とかって言われた時に、
Yeah.
なんか、カップって私はコップのこと、グラスコップかと思って、どういう意味？でも人でしょと思って、全然理解できなくて、私がこう混乱してるのを見た時に彼らが、ごめん、ポリスって意味って後から教えてくれて、もうびっくりしたね。
Yeah.
衝撃的。
Some of that is like the difference in sounds, like cop versus cup. Americans would never really mix those two up, even though it's hard for a Japanese person to hear the difference between those two sounds.
だよね。
And this is another one of those examples of like slang that is so common that it's not even really slang anymore. Like it's pretty rare that, I don't know, it seems like cop is more common than police nowadays. Like police officer is very like official. Yeah, I don't know.
わかった。
Are there any others that you can think of that you know?
あとはよくギャルたちが使っているので、for real? って言ってる、なんでも。ムービーでも、シティにいてもすっごく聞こえる。
Yeah.
し、なんか、よくこっちの現地の、その子たちもペアだったけど、英語をみんなで話してるときに、You should use this word って言われて、for real, for real って言ったらネイティブに聞こえるよって言われて、わかったって言った。
do you know what it means and how to use it?
なんかその文字通りに、なんか、マジでみたいな。
Yeah.
そうなのみたいな。
Yeah.
軽い意味のスラング。Yeah. だからすごく若者言葉じゃないけど、なんかこう、ギャルっぽい感じのイメージ。
Yeah. One thing that's really weird with all languages, but in English slang too, is the same words can mean many different things depending on how you say it and in what situation you say it. Right? So there's a way of saying for real, which is like an affirmation of something. There's a way of saying for real, which is like a question. You know what I mean? And yeah, so it's with a lot of these words, it's probably easiest and best to listen to other people using them and then start to copy people that you want to talk like until you have your own understanding of how they work. And then you can sort of choose how you want to talk. Okay. You want me to give one or two?
いいよ。
So one big difference between Japanese and English is in Japan, it's very, very common when something is interesting or amazing to just use すごい or やばい. And those two are like, there's a couple others as well, but those are the main two that most people use, or some version of it, すげえ, やば, みたいな. Whereas in English, we have a ton of different words for that kind of feeling. There's like cool, there's sick, there's dope, there's like rad, there's tight, there's
本当タイトっていうの？
It's not super common anymore, but yeah. There's all kinds of them. And obviously there's awesome, there's that's insane.
それよく使うよね。
Yeah.
あなた。
That's crazy. That's nuts. Like all kinds of different versions of it that really all mean basically the same thing. Yeah, so there's all kinds of different versions of that. Do you want me to keep going or do you have another one that comes to mind?
なんか、本当に黙ってっていう時は shut up でしょ？けど黙っての意味じゃない時にも shut up を使うっていうのを
Yeah, yeah.
知ってて。で、なんか、マジみたいな、なんか、ちょっとみたいな時に、いつも使われてたイメージが周りの人に。
Yeah, this is another one of those subtleties of language. Like, normally a native English speaker can hear the difference between shut up and like shut up, right? Like that they sound different. And you can usually tell by the facial expression and like the body language and the situation. But yeah, that one's probably a little bit more difficult to learn to use, right? So for most people, if you're learning ones like that, I would just learn to understand them. I would not try to use them.
いや、本当になんかに意味を理解してないで使ったら、ちょっと危ないっていうか、
Right. Yeah.
not ready yet だったら使わない方がいい。
Right. Or even if you understand them, like, don't even try to use them. Like, for one, in some cases, they're just rude. Or they're used by people that you probably don't want to be talking like. Not always, sometimes. Sometimes they're just funny and whatever. But for many of them, there's a lot of nuance to the way you say it. So if your pronunciation is a little bit, like you're still working on it, or if your grammar is a little bit mixed up and people don't think you know what you're talking about, don't try to use ones that are easily confused, like shut up. You can use a more similar one that's a little bit less easy to confuse with something else. Some cases you do.
Yeah.
Like, for example, there are some of these that I'm going to share now that are very useful for a wide range of situations. Like for guys especially when a guy is talking to another guy, it's very, very common to use some version of dude or bro or man or like my guy or like something like that. And like fill that in. Instead of saying like you or their name, you can say like dude.
言ってるね。
Or,
でも、やっくん私には使ってないよね、それ。
Right. Because you're my wife. And for one, bro, dude, and man all mean 男性。
嘘？本当に？
Bro is short for brother.
いや、まあそうだけど、dude ってめっちゃ言ってるじゃん、シスターにも。友達にも。
Right. So it technically has the like meaning of a guy, to my understanding. I don't actually remember the etymology of it. But dude is definitely much wider use. Like I use it with my sister and with some people.
Okay.
But I think instead of dude, bro, or man, or something like that, when it's with your partner, we have all kinds of like pet names is what they're called. Would you like to share about any of those in Japanese if you know what I'm talking about?
Pet names?
It's pet names is also slang, I guess. Like instead of saying Aoi, I or someone else in a relationship in the US that speaks English would use words like babe, baby, my love.
やっぱりさ、こうやってアメリカって人の名前を名前で言うことってあんまりないでしょ？少ないでしょ？ You になるから。
Right.
けど日本語ってお前って言ったらちょっとルールだし、
Right.
あなたっていう時は、まああるけど、やっぱり名前の方が多いじゃん。だから結構カップルのそのベイブとかでも名前の方が多いから、例えば、何々くん、わかんない。ゆうきくんとか、こうへいくんとか。だから、そのペットネームっていうのは、すっごく、二人だけで、もうなんか二人、他の人に見られないところとか聞こえないところで使うような、なんか、なんだろう、猫ちゃんって呼んだり、わかんない。そういうちょっとなんかこう二人の遊び、ゲームみたいな、ゲームじゃないな、二人のこう、イチャイチャの中であるやつだから、多分こう、ショッピングモールでさ、僕の猫ちゃんこっち来てみたいな、ないから、多分そんなに出てこない気がするの。
In Japan, you mean?
だってさ、聞いたことある？日本の 私が言ったことある、誰かに。
it's usually just nicknames, right?
いや、ニックネーム。
Like you shorten the name, you have some cute variation of it or whatever. But
そうそう。
yeah.
だから、
Yeah. Whereas in English, there's all kinds of words depending on your culture and whatever. There's different versions of it, but the big ones that I use are like babe, baby, and like my love. And some people might say like dear or something along those lines. Yeah, so pet names are a big one. There's some other ones that are kind of just like vocab. There's a lot of phrases, first of all. Like even just one example is like to hang out, right? I don't really want to go too much into phrases because I think we could have a whole other episode on that. But keep in mind that I'm only really talking about like single words, not like entire phrases. Like, I guess one more example of a phrase is like to be down with something. Like
to be down.
I'm down. Do you know what that means?
降りるってこと？なんかその、例えばこれ、なんかやってて、これっていうことをしてて、わかんない。何かをしてる。ゲームでもなんか遊びでも、わかんない。タバコ吸ってる時間でも。あ、俺はもういいって時とかに。
No, not I'm done or anything like that, but I'm down means like, yes, I'll join you or something. Like if a bunch of people are, say, going to a concert or something, and they're like, hey, you want to go? You could say, yeah, I'm down.
へえ、面白い。そうなんだ。
So there's a lot of phrases and stuff like that, but
それは面白いな。
if somebody is very, very lean and like muki-muki, what do you call them?
Muscle guy.
Muscle guy, okay, it's a good guess.
Hustle guy.
Hustle guy. Yeah, so two slang words, I guess, that we have in English are shredded.
Shredded?
Or ripped. Do you know what those words mean? Like, mojidori ni, do you know what they mean?
最初の S から始まってるやつは
Shredded?
いや、自分でスペリングわからない。
Yeah. But have you heard that word before? Shredded? Yes, you have.
本当？
Shredded cheese?
あるね。嘘
It's very common in especially with guys at least, like, oh, dude, he's shredded.
だって、女の子といる時とかだったらさ、なんかそうやって言うよりも he's so hot とかって言ってるのしか、聞いてないから。
But hot is more like
かっこいい。
一般的に he's attractive, right? Whereas shredded is specifically like he has very low body fat and he has a lot of muscle, right? Same with ripped. Like it just means like very low fat, high muscle. So it's more about like the physique of a person.
わからないわ。聞いてないと思う。
Okay, well, you'll probably hear it at some point. Definitely, if you're around guys, especially guys that go to the gym or work out or whatever, you'll definitely hear it, or even on Instagram.
本当？
Yeah.
いいと思うの。すごくマッスルってしてる方ね。リスペクトしてるし。けど、not my type だから、多分聞いてても、
Yeah. Especially if you go to a gym or something, you'll see it on like posters like, oh, new program, like 7-day shred or something like that.
ありそう。
Or shred city, like you'll see it all over the place.
もう一個のやつなんだっけ？
Ripped, yabureru. So ripped and shredded, pretty common. There's all kinds of other variations too, like he's cut. Cut means like he's very lean.
何leanって?
Lean means like, for example, you'll see it in the grocery store when you're buying meat. You'll see a percentage, this percentage meat, this percentage fat, right? Like 90% lean meat, 10% fat.
油.
Right?
Okay. なるほどね。
So lean means like low or like low in fat, or it can be used in other situations too. Like a lean business model doesn't have a lot of extra money, right? So it
ごめん、日本語でわかんない。それなんだっけ？なんだっけ
？In the startup world, I think they literally use the English word lean, but I don't actually know if that's the case.
調べます後で。
Okay. You want me to keep going, or do you think that's...
いいよ、行こ
う Okay. Salty. Do you know what salty means?
普通だったらしょっぱいでしょ?
Yeah. So if you had to imagine, like, first of all, it's a feeling, it's an emotion.
じゃあ怒ってるかな？だってスイートが優しいだから、
Right.
合ってる？
Yeah.
Good guess.
It's usually some version of like they're upset. Something made them mad and now they're salty.
じゃあ、he seems like a salty っていうの？どうやって使うの？
Yeah, you could say he seems salty, but it has an interesting nuance though. It's not just like they're upset. It's like when you call somebody salty, it's a way of like belittling them or like saying that their anger is not justified. Their anger is not, they shouldn't be angry, but they kind of are. Like, for example, if you're playing a video game and you keep losing and you're getting mad that you keep losing, that's being salty, right?
なる
It's
ほど
like
ね。
you don't need to be angry and you're getting angry anyways. Or
不
like
機嫌な時ってこと？
maybe, yeah.
なんかちょっとプンプンしてる時に、
Right, yeah.
ソルティって使うんだ。
Or like or like young guys, maybe a guy likes a girl and talks to her at a party and she's not interested and she goes and talks to some other guy. Then that guy would get really salty, right? Because he feels like he's rejected or something. It's used in those types of situations.
面白い。でもこれはゲスしやすかった。
Yeah.
うん。
Yeah.
ナイスナイス。スパイシーはあるの？逆に。
Spicy.
だって、スイートあって、ソルティあるんならスパイシーあるでしょ？
I think spicy is used in like a like if somebody's really attractive or like dressed well in like a sexual way.
へー。
Or
ちょっとセクシーな感じだったら、
right, yeah.
スパイシーって表現できるんだ。
It's not like a feeling, but it's
汗かいてくるような感覚。絵文字でもなんかよくあるよね。
yeah.
なんか赤い顔にベロがブーってなってて、なんかそれ使うのは気をつけた方がいいよ、アメリカでって言われたの。なんかちょっとセクシュアルな絵文字だから。
That's not sexual in Japan?
あるかもだけど、てか使わないよね、あの絵文字。わかんない。あるかも。私は知らないのね。けどなんかアボカド1個でも意味があるらしいじゃん。
Right.
アメリカはね。
Sure.
あと、なんだっけ？もちろん日本も同じだけど、桃、ピーチ、
Yeah.
お尻でしょ？
Right.
じゃないけど、なんかそのアメリカから来てるその絵文字文化みたいなのは、ちょっとずつあるけど、でも全然まだ知られてないのがあるから、留学来る前に使う絵文字気をつけてってすっごく言われたのを覚えてる。
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
あとある？
I've got a ton I could keep going. One of them is like jank or janky.
ジェンキー？
Yeah.
待って。ジェンキー？あれなんだっけ？美味しいさ、チューイングする茶色いスティックみたいなやつ。
Pokey?
ジャーキーだ。
Jerky. Oh my goodness.
ごめん。なんか繋がってると思った。
Yeah, that's close. Jerky, janky.
ジャンキー？
Janky or jank? Yeah.
ジャンク。
You could say that's jank.
That's junk っていうの？待って。
Not junk, jank.
Junk.
Yeah. So if something is jank, it's like not very well put together. It's bad, it's dirty, it's like insecure. Like for example, if something in my car breaks, like my window breaks off, my rear view mirror, and I just like tape it back on.
待って、聞いたことある。
That's super jank. Like it's a really jank way of fixing that.
言うね。
Right?
わかったわかった。なんか車とか壊れてたり、そういうフィックスしてる時も今言ってたやつもそうだけど、あとはなんか人のことも言うよね。なんかすごくさ、こう、変わってる面白い人。
I guess so. I've never used it towards a person, but I'm sure people do.
聞い
Like
た
maybe
こと
their
ある。
outfits or something.
なんか裸足で歩いてて片手に蛇持ちながらなんかすごく穴だらけの服を着ている不思議などこかの星から来たような人が目の前にいてその人のことを友達が言ってるのを聞いたことあるしで俺がどういう意味って言ったのさ。
Yeah. It's also used in a lot of different circles, but like in parkour, if like something is really sketchy is a good one. I was gonna say if something is really sketchy, but you wouldn't know what that is. Sketchy is like dangerous or like unsafe, but it's used mostly, I guess it's used in a lot of different ways. You could say like that guy looks kind of sketchy. Like he looks kind of like
怖い
quiet, dangerous.
なんかさ、普通のスケッチとする、アートのスケッチと一緒のスペリングなの？ワードなの？
Yeah.
なのに怖いっていう意味になるの？
Right. Like that's sketch.
意味わかんない。なんでそういうの来るんだろうね。
I'm not sure actually where sketch comes from, but like if a jump is really like over some big gap or like there's a really big drop or something, you'd be like, oh, dude, that's sketch. Like you don't want to do that.
へー、そうなんだ。
Yeah. Or in skateboarding, it's really common. Or
スケッチって言うんだ。
yeah. Or anything that
面
looks
白い。
weird or dangerous.
でも子供の前とかは使わない方がいいよね。本当にこういうスラングって。
Some of them are really, they're not offensive at all. Like sketch, jank, salty, ripped, I'm down, dude. Like these are, they're not bad at all. Use them all the time. I mean, you wouldn't want to use them in like a business meeting, but you can use them around family. You can use them in public. Like they're not bad at all.
Okay.
So that's a lot. We could keep going on for hours and hours and hours, but we covered quite a few.
本当
Yeah, please send us messages if you have any slang that you want us to talk about, or if you have any that you were surprised about. Let us know. Connect with us on Instagram.
Yeah, let us know.
Thanks for listening.
Bye.
Bye-bye.